Good afternoon. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I've seen that there are a few people coming on, so I will get started because, it's we said 12 o'clock, so I'm going to get started. Now, this is being recorded, just to let you know, so don't worry. If you want to go back to it, feel free. They'll put it on Forever Knowledge. So what I also want to say is that please feel free to use the chat box to chat amongst yourselves. But if you've got any specific questions about what I'm going to talk about today, then please put them in the Q&A. And when I've finished doing my presentation, then I'll look at that box and answer any questions. Hopefully I'll be able to give the answers that you want to hear. So it's my absolute privilege to host this webinar today. I am a little bit nervous, so forgive me. Some of you might recognise me, many of you won't. I have spoken on a few things before, but I've never, ever done my own webinar. So this is hugely out of my comfort zone. And it's my absolute pleasure to talk about how having a positive mindset doubled my business. And I think, mindset, we hear a lot about it all the time, but it's so key. And it really kind of makes me smile, actually, when I think about, getting out of my comfort zone to do this today. It's a huge deal for me. So it is all about having that mindset, and I can and I will. So like I say, many of you won't know who I am. So as it says here, I'm Justine Webb. Most people call me Jay. And I think what's fascinating is that my story, if I give you a bit of story about me, a bit of background, it will help you understand all about the mindset and why I'm sharing this today. So I've actually been with Forever Living now for 5 years, 5 years this month. Well, no, it was 5 years in May, but it was a year ago this month that I went manager. Now, you might be thinking, my goodness, that's a long time, that I really didn't do very much. It took me 4 years and then I decided to get started. So that's what I'm going to share today. But just to give you a bit of background, I actually joined for my husband to do. So this business was supposed to be for my husband Dion to do. He's a London firefighter. And if you know any firefighters, you know that they get a bit of time off between shifts. And the idea was he was going to do it when he was off duty, to give us a bit of extra money because we really needed it. We both worked for a bank. We both worked for Lloyds TSB. I had done 24 years before having our children. And after our second son came along, they're now 9 and 11, it wasn't viable to go back to banking. So I left that, had a year out, and then took a job in a local doctor's surgery, but obviously took a huge pay cut. My husband, he'd been in banking. He then decided to be a firefighter, quite different career. And again, of course, the income dropped. So we really needed, that bit of extra money. We really did. Oh, thank you, Christine. So yeah, that's why we joined. We joined for a bit of extra money for him to do. But what happened was we didn't really know what we were going to be doing. We luckily knew a school parent, the lovely Beth Turner. Many of you will know Beth. And we said, let's have a look at what it is you're doing. So as I say, we took a look, we saw an opportunity of earning a few £100s a month. We bought our box and we just stared at it for a few days thinking, what on earth have we done? Never run a business before. I didn't know anything about aloe vera. I knew you could put it on sunburn, but that's all I knew. But we just knew that we needed something. Anyway, we started using the products. That was the turning point. All my colleagues at the doctor's surgery started to comment on how well I was looking, the energy levels that I had, my skin was glowing. And I just said to my husband, this is great, move over, I'm doing this. So I kind of took over. He does help me, of course, especially with technology. I am not good with technology at all. So Sam is behind the scenes today, helping me with the slides. So yeah, I'm very grateful to her. But anyway, I got, started using the products. My customers started to come from being my colleagues. They wanted to use the products because they wanted to feel and look how I, appeared to look and feel. And I suddenly realised what I had my hands on, and I thought, maybe if I do a little bit more, maybe if I start talking to people about the business opportunity, perhaps I can leave work and be a stay-at-home mum. And that's what happened. So about 1.5 years after starting, I was able to say goodbye to the day job, and this is all I've done ever since. But as I say, I've been in the business 5 years, but I only got to manager last year. And that really is the key. I just coasted along. And if I'm honest, I never believed that I could do it. I really didn't. You know, you get the first steps to manager, don't you? And managers where everyone wants to get to. But I really didn't ever believe that I could do it. So what changed? Sam, if we can have the next slide, please. There might be a bit of a delay with the tech, but here we go. So what changed? It was a light bulb moment for me. And what changed was, if you think about the world we're in right now, what happened a year ago was, so February last year, COVID hit, and that was the turning point. The world had changed. Life as we knew it had changed. You know, suddenly the boys were at home and I was having to homeschool them. So I was doing my forever business. That's all I was doing. I wasn't working. As I said, I'd left the day job. But my husband, as you can see on the screen there, my husband then started to make a few suggestions that perhaps I might need to go back to work. And I didn't want to do that. That was a huge wake-up call for me, because I'd been coasting along as supervisor. You know, I was bringing in that £300, £400, £500 a month retailing income, but I wasn't getting the sort of £800 to £1,000 a month that I needed to make things more comfortable for us. And I just thought, oh my goodness, I don't want to go back to work. I just can't. So everything changed. Everything changed. So Sam, if we can have the next slide, please. And there was my why. You know, they always say it's going to smack you right between the eyes or whatever, but it was literally boom. I can't go back to work. So I had a choice, as you can see, either admit defeat and think, well, that's it. You're right. I can't do it. I'm never going to do it. I'm never going to make manager. COVID's hit as well. How on earth, you know, how on earth am I going to do it now? Or I could choose to embrace the new opportunity in the world that we were living in during these, you know, that time. And obviously we've got an opportunity in our hands that we can work fully online. So I chose, you know, I thought, well, I've got two choices. Choose to seize the opportunity and get to work. So that's what I did. And I had my why. And there was just a total mindset shift of, rather than, I don't think I can never do it, the mindset became, I will do it. So Sam, if we can have the next slide, please. So there we are. My mindset changed from, I don't think I'll ever do it. You know, so many people want to get to manager, don't they? But then you think 120 case credits or 150, how on earth, you know, I'm struggling to do 4. Now, at that time in February, I've got a note of my CCs here. In February, I was just about doing 4 case credits myself, February last year. Overall, with the few people, I only had a few people in my team that were doing anything. Overall, myself and my team were doing 13 case credits. So I had a bit of a task on my hands to get to manager, but my mindset changed to, I will be a manager. There was no plan B. That became my mantra. There is no plan B. And I used the first steps to manager. You know, here it is, the 6-month plan. And that's what I stuck to. I absolutely stuck to that. And it was just mindset, absolute mindset. So as I say, let's just talk about CC. So February, my team and I did 13. I just got to work. I did all the basics, but it was the mindset. I knew I could do it. I knew I could do it. That was the thing. So March, myself, I did 8 and my team did 20. So I'm on that build. If you look at step 2, it's 15 case credits. Month 3 was April. I did 8 again. My team did 22. So I was a little bit short of where I needed to be, but I was tracking my CCs really, really heavily. May, myself and my team did 28. In June, I personally sponsored 9 new FBOs. So personally, I did 30 case credits, and overall, myself and my team did 59 case credits. So that you can see it's just progress. And then in July last year, I did 17 and my team did 71. So there you are, I'd hit manager. So I ended up doing it, the 150 over the 4 months, but also because of the last 2 months, because momentum had kicked in, I did the 120 over the 2 months. So that was absolutely wonderful. So, you know, you're probably thinking, well, that's all great, but how did you do it? And I can honestly say it was mindset. I never doubted it. Every single day, I believed I could do it. And like I say, everyone always says to you, don't they, this business is 80% mindset. I'd probably argue it's more than that. It absolutely is. And the minute you doubt yourself, you will have doubts. I'm going to come on to that in a minute, but it's believing it. When you believe it, you can see it. So anyway, one little thing that I did do, there was a bit of a change. Sorry, the lighting keeps changing, so I do apologise, but I'm sure you can hear me okay. Something that we do in our team is we use a day book. It's literally just a notebook. Here it is. I'm not going to talk about how I use a day book fully. That's probably one for another day. But at the top right of my page every day is a message, and it's a message to myself. So if we can have the next slide, please. Well, that's just talking about me and my team, because obviously this is a team effort. But again, believing in you, knowing you can do it, and knowing your team can do it. If we can have the next slide, Sam, that would be great. Thank you. So here we are. I started using the day book. And remember I said at the top right hand, we've got a message. The message is a message to myself. So me and my team, we use the day book every day, and it's a message to yourself to kind of give you those encouraging words. And these are some of, it's just one phrase every day. And these are some of the phrases that I have that I've picked from my book over the course of the last year. Things like manager, here I come. And that actually was from June time, building up to manager, because I could see it, I could almost taste it. It was so exciting. But it's positive. Manager, here I come. I am a champion. I'm so excited for, I've got this. It might feel tingles now. It's positive because you know that you're going to do it. Sam, next slide, please. So I had to believe it every single day. Every single day, I told myself, you'll do it, Jay. Come on, Jay. You've got this, Jay. You've become your own cheerleader. You've really got to. You've really, really got to. So every day it's a positive message in my day book, never, ever anything negative. And it might be something that I've heard from a company training. It might be something Jane said or Natalie said. It might be something from someone outside of Forever. I listen to people when I'm running, like Les Brown or Tony Robbins. It might be a phrase or a line that they've said. Anything like that I could put in that day book, I put in there. So just generally, I'm just going to talk about mindset before I talk about this slide, because it's really interesting. I can honestly say it is the single most important thing, I believe, in building your forever business. But not just in your forever business, really in all aspects of your life. If you think about, I don't know, perhaps you've got a goal that you want to lose a few pounds before summer really, really kicks in. And, what do you tell yourself? What do you tell yourself every day? Do you tell yourself, oh, I'll never do it. I'll never lose those few pounds because I've got a really sweet tooth. Or I'll never do it because I've got a really slow metabolism, or I don't know. We're kind of getting into the blame game now. But what are you telling yourself? What are you feeding your mind with? Or are you telling yourself, I am going to get into that outfit that I really want to get into that I wore last year? You've got a photograph of it. You can see you in that outfit and you think, yes, I'm going to feel like that again. It's an excitement. It's a feeling. So you've got to feed your mind with that. What about finances? Do you tell yourself, oh, I haven't got enough money. I wish I had more money. Or are you grateful for what you do have? Are you grateful that you can afford perhaps that takeaway, or to treat the kids to an ice cream, or to go to the cinema? Whatever it is, be grateful for what you've got. And gratitude is huge. Gratitude is huge. I think I'm going to touch on that again in a minute. But perhaps you're in a job that you really don't like, and you really want forever to be your vehicle of getting out of that job. Do you wake up every day and think, oh, I hate my job. I really don't want to go. I don't like the people I work with. I hate it. Or are you excited and you're thinking, I'm really growing my business because then I can sack the boss? It's the excitement and just thinking, I know this is just a stepping stone. This is just a phase. Rather than resenting your job, be excited for the day that you can stop that job. That is the feeling. So here's my example. Now, I am a bit of a petrol head. Some people who know me well will know that I love a car, and BMW is my favourite car. And I used to have one years ago, and a funny story, in fact, we sold it to fund our wedding. And since I joined Forever, I always saw the car plan. I was like, yes, that's really exciting. So for me, it's a really big motivating factor. But it's, you know, car plan is one of our earned incentives. You need to be a manager first. What's brilliant about this photograph is that this actual car, this picture is in Stockholm Airport. So I paid for myself to go to the Stockholm Global Rally because obviously it wasn't too far for me to travel, and had an absolutely incredible time. And as I got off the plane, I travelled on my own because obviously I funded it myself, and that car was in the airport in Stockholm. And I just thought, oh, it's a sign. It really was. So that is the actual car I took a photograph of. You can see it in the airport there. And it really wasn't, you know, a kind of moment of, oh my goodness, this is a sign. Anyway, the point is, and you can see the little girl there with the excited face. I am so excited that one day I will drive that car. Not that exact one, obviously, but it will be that colour, because that's the one it will be. And if any of you have listened to people like Jane Leach or Chris Goldsborough, I remember she said the story about her wanting a BMW, and she rang the showroom and she said, no, it's got to be silver. And they said, no, we've got one in whatever colour. She said, no, it's got to be silver. On the board, it's silver. So you've got to have that detail about what you want. You know, Jane Leach knew the exact fittings that she wanted in her dream house. You know, she knew she wanted, I think it was Villarroel and Bouche or something, down to the finite detail, because then you're excited for it. So I haven't achieved car plan yet, but my goodness, I'm so excited that I will. I really, really am. And now when I'm driving about in my car and I see people driving past me in a BMW, beautiful one, the colour I want, rather than thinking, oh, I still haven't got car plan, I smile to myself and I think, oh, that's a beautiful car. One day that'll be me driving that car. And that is the feeling. Rather than being resentful and beating myself up that I haven't got to car plan yet, I'm excited for what's to come. So I hope that kind of gives you some, that's a big thing. That for me is a really, really big thing, to smile and be excited for what's to come. If I can have the next slide, please, Sam. So, as I say, focus, if we just focus on Forever and mindset, you know, like I said, we've all heard it before, on probably every single training that I've ever been on in Forever, every success day, you know, person that I've heard, maybe with the exception of product trainings, but all other trainings, they always talk about mindset, because it is so, so important. It really, really is. But actually thinking about products, just a quick aside, what do you tell yourself about the price of the drinking gel? Do you think it's expensive at £22 a bottle? It's quite an important thing, because if that's what you're telling yourself, that you think it's a bit expensive, guess what? That's going to come across in when you're speaking to people. So just think about that. I mean, I've gone off on a tangent there, but just think about that. Is what you tell yourself. So this particular slide is talking about the gremlins, the demon, you know, the left and the right shoulder. You know, I'm sure you've all heard about this. You've got the little voice on this shoulder saying, come on, who are you trying to kid? You'll never get to manager. You'll never do it. Come on. And then the other side saying, yes, you can. You can do it. Yes, you can. And then, of course, what happens is you're speaking to people, you're, you know, sending out invitations to look at the business opportunity. You get ignored and ignored and ignored. And people say no. And they say no again. And then, of course, the little man on this shoulder saying, see, told you, no one wants to join you. You can't do it. You'll never do it. 120 case credits, you'll never do it. That voice becomes the strongest voice. It really, really does. So it's you've got to stamp that out. And I remember watching Jane Leach, and she was saying about this particular story, and she said, you've got to get that man and put him in a brown paper bag and put him on the floor and stamp on him. And it was funny, but the point was, she was saying, stamp it out. Get rid of that voice. This voice has got to be the strongest one. I don't know which way around it is. Juliana Bevan always says that whatever one it is that's the bad voice, she always says, no, I'm not listening to you today. I'm not listening to you today. just hold on to that positive mindset. So that little voice in your head, all right, that's the absolute key. But we've heard it all before, right? You know, you're hearing it again today from me, that mindset is the key. And you're probably thinking, yeah, I've got it. And, you know, you go to success days and yeah, right, I've got it, mindset. But then you forget it. You've got to feed that every single day, because otherwise you will forget it. That's why I have a little message to myself every single day. So it is constantly fueling your mind with positive thoughts. Because if you don't, then, I mean, you think of the world we're living in now. Oh my goodness, isn't it? So much negativity. You know, I mean, I don't watch the news. I rely on my friend to fill me in with what's happening in the world, but because it's miserable, it's negative. Even down to, and I know one of my team members, Amanda's tuning in today, we had a conversation about this, about the weather, and I think it was Natalie Valenti. When it's raining, she doesn't even notice when it's raining. People will say to her about the weather, she'll be like, oh, is it? Oh, well, the garden really needs it. It's putting a positive spin on everything. I hope that makes sense. So always think about positive things, and it is like a magnet. When you have a positive attitude, positive things will come into your life. They really, really will. And it's all to do with the law of attraction. And I'm going to talk about this. I will be honest with you. I never, ever believed in the law of attraction. I thought it was a load of hippy dippy, mumbo jumbo rubbish. I really didn't believe in it. But I have since realized it is absolutely true. I've got, if we can have the next slide, please, Sam. So one Christmas, my best friend, Becky, she's not in forever, but she is a huge cheerleader for me. She bought me these two books. I don't know if you've heard of Sarah Morgan. She's a fantastic author, and she is all to do with law of attraction and manifestation. And Becky bought me these, and you can see there's some little messages. So Becky's written a little message, but also Sarah, the author, has personally put in a message. So you can read them for yourselves. But I started to read the books and thought, I don't really think this is for me, really. And then a few months went on and I thought, no, come on, give them a read. Absolutely brilliant. So a little tip, if you want something to read and you want to work on your mindset and help you with the law of attraction, then I can really recommend these books. They are fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So it is all about the energy that you give off, all right? It really, really is. So when you give off a positive energy and positive vibes, good things, good experiences will come into your, what's the word? They'll just come into your life. Jane, I know Jane talks about this. Well, it's a silly example, but it's really, really true. When I drive into a car park, now I can be with my husband. If my husband's driving and the car park is full, he will roll his eyes and say, oh, we're not going to get a space. And invariably we have to wait for somebody to move. When I drive on my own into a busy car park, my thought is, I'm going to get a space. It might sound ridiculous, and I always do. I always do. So I know it sounds silly, but put it out there. Just put it out there. When you are positive things will come into your life. They really, really will. So law of attraction is absolutely fabulous. If we can have the next slide, please, Sam. So keep your mind full of positive things. And here we are. This is all about the law of attraction. As I say, many of you will have heard of it, but there's also, I don't know if you can see it. I don't know how to move my picture of me down, so I'm hoping you can see behind. There's The Secret and The Power, Rhonda Byrne. Now, I don't know if any of you have read these, if you've watched the film. The Secret is a film. The Power, I listened to an audiobook, and that was actually a tip from one of the workshops that we had. It was a forever workshop. I think it was Claire Spencer, I think, had suggested about The Power, and I thought, right, I'm going to download that. And I got the free download. Absolutely brilliant. Now, I always listen to things like this when I'm doing other things. We are all busy, I'm sure. I mean, I don't know if you're like me, but goodness me, this month, it's so busy. I think because we're going out a bit more. So yes, it's important to do trainings and listen to things, but try and do it when you're doing something else, because like I say, no one's got more than 24 hours in a day. So for me, I listen to audiobooks and things like that when I'm running, when I'm in the car, when I'm straightening my hair, when I'm putting my makeup on, because I'm kind of stuck doing what I'm doing, but I can listen to something. You don't need to watch. So these are just a couple of really, really good examples, but the power, and Rhonda Byrne talks about loving everything. And like I say, when you put out that positive vibe, you know, what you get back, that's what it is. So I don't need to dwell on this anymore, but if you want a little tip of something to watch and look at and listen to, then absolutely give those a try, because they will really, really change your whole way of life. They are absolutely brilliant. You know, what do you tell yourself when lockdown hit? Did you think, oh, well, that's it, I'm never going to be manager now, I'm never going to build my business now, I can't go out, I can't see people, I can't meet them in coffee shops, I don't know how to use Zoom? That was me. I've already said, I hate technology. I absolutely hate it. But see, now that's a bad thing, because that's a negative comment. I tell myself I can't do it, but I have to flip it and say, look what you've done today. You know, I've managed it. So it is about what you tell yourself. You know, when lockdown hit, did you say, oh, no one's got any money, everyone's fed up homeschooling? Or did you think, I've got an incredible opportunity in my hands that I can do fully online? I can do it when I like, around the children. It's a great opportunity. So it's just flipping. It's flipping it, every single thing. And also that you're keeping everyone safe, because you're not going out and meeting people. So it's a really, really good thing. And did you also think, I must let people know about our incredible products? You know, we have the best health and wellness products in the world. I feel it's my duty to let people know about them. Do you feel like that too? You know, not everybody you know will want to drink aloe. You don't need everybody you know to drink aloe vera. You only need to find 20 of them, and that's going to bring you in about 300 quid a month. But if you're not telling people about it, you're not going to find the people that want it. So just, you know, again, we owe it to people to let them know about our fantastic opportunity. You do not know what's going on behind closed doors. So again, it's what you tell yourself. We have got an incredible opportunity, and we owe it to people to let them know about it. So it's the fuel. You must listen to positive things. You must fill your mind with positivity all the time. But when I say about listening to people and watching people and videos and things like that, if I can have the next slide, please, Sam, while I talk about this. There are lots and lots of people that you can tune into. Now, you know, here we see, there's Facebook. You know, there are people on Facebook, the gurus. Jane Leach did a good training on this once, and she said, you know, just be careful about these so-called gurus that are claiming to have the best tips on how to get more recruits and all of that, and they want you to sign up for some kind of course. She said, you know, you want to check some of these people out. They've done diddly squat, was her words. They've just learned how to market themselves on Facebook. So just be careful who you choose to listen to. But there are things like podcasts, the audiobooks. That's where I listen to The Power. Forever Knowledge. All the recordings are there. You know, just Google, good old Google. I always type in Forever Living, YouTube, and then whoever I fancy listening to. It might be Jane Leach, it might be Natalie Healy-Shields, it might be Juliana Bevan, Lisa Prescott, Lisa Williams. You can just type their name in and you'll get their videos. It's all free. So, you know, you've got all of this stuff, but what I want to stress is only listen to people that motivate you. So, or you listen to people that you like the way they speak. Now, a really good example of this is Tony Robbins. I think he's fantastic, but I'll be honest with you, sometimes his voice really irritates me. So if you find that you don't like a particular person that you're listening to, then don't listen to them. There are plenty of other motivational speakers to listen to. You know, Denzel Washington's a great one. Will Smith, another brilliant one. I started listening to, and I haven't finished it yet, Gareth Southgate. He did a podcast the other day, you know, really, really motivational. So you've got all of these things at our fingertips now. If you don't know how to find them, you know, just speak to your upline and they'll show you how to find them. But it's super, super easy, but good old Google. So for me, as I say, personally, Denzel Washington, Will Smith, Eric Worre, he's another good one, can be a little bit irritating at times, but brilliant content. Les Brown, I love Les Brown. brilliant story from, you know, his background. So he's a really, really good person to listen to. But while I was on the Build to Manager last year, then it was people like Jane Leach, Chris Goldsborough, all of those kind of people. And only listen to people that have got to where you want to get to. Block out anyone else, you know, block out someone's got the new best idea over here. Stick to the basics, The training never changes, you know. It's really a shame because we don't get to go to success days anymore. So we don't get that fuel of actually meeting up face to face. But the next best thing is tuning into, listening to them. All the success days are recorded, and it really will give you that fuel. So like I say, when you're doing something else, when you're driving, you know, just put them on and have them in the background while you're driving, and it just confirms what you've got your hands on, the amazing opportunity, and that you can get to where they've got to, because we all can. So that's what I want to say about that one. So as I say, we've not got success days, so we've not getting that battery recharge. So we need to find another way of doing it, and it's online. It's free. That you don't have to travel. So think of the positives rather than, oh, it's such a shame we can't go to success days anymore. Yes, it is a shame. We will do again. But the positives are, online's free. You don't have to get in the car. You don't have to, you can wear whatever you like. You can be in your pajamas. Nobody can see you. You can have a G&T on the go. It's great. And you're still getting the same information. So it's a positive. Put the positive spin on it. Same goes for online product launching. I absolutely, and this was on the Build to Manager, so February to July last year, Gemma Easton, who's our team, since Beth and Gemma, online launches, and I dug my heels in and I thought, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I can't do Zoom. Here we go again. Negative thoughts. Hate Zoom. Can't do it. No, it's fine. But then I realised, how silly is that? Now I love them. I absolutely love them. Again, you haven't got to go anywhere, nor have your guests. They can rock up in whatever they want. You haven't got to provide nibbles. You haven't got to clean your house. How great is it? So it's a positive thing that we're online doing online product launches. So flip it. Flip how you're, what you're telling yourself. So I'm just going to come back to, as I say, just be careful on the people that you are listening to. Make sure they're people that you have got where you want to get to. So that's really, really important. And, anyone that inspires you. So Sam, if I can have the next slide, please, because I think this is really, really important. Look at all the people that are on the screen now. You might recognise, I'm sure you'll recognise a lot of them. Lewis Hamilton, he won, well, if you don't know who he is, he's an incredible Formula One driver, probably one of the best ever. And I was actually listening to his interview the other day, and, the mindset that these people have before they get out on track or they get out on the golf course. We've got Tiger Woods there. What do you think they are telling themselves? Are they telling themselves, oh, crikey, didn't sleep very well last night, not going to have a very good round today, or I'm not going to go very well, or my car's rubbish? No, their mindset is, I'm a champion. So the bottom right there is Marcus Leach. So Marcus Leach is Jane Leach's son. He is an adventure athlete and journalist, I think. And I remember hearing him speak for the first time. I'd heard him for the first time at a QLS event, and I was absolutely mesmerised by what he said. And, this guy, if you Google him, you'll see his transformation from somebody that was, he says he was overweight, he wasn't where he wanted to be physically, and he had this vision that he was going to cycle the 3 big cycle events, the Tour de France and all of this, and climb Mount Kilimanjaro. And he transformed his body, and he's now gone on to, he speaks all over the world. But what he was saying was, in the mornings when he would wake up and he would have to go and, cycle hundreds of miles, and it would be 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, lashing down with rain. The kids were asleep, his wife was asleep. Did he want to go out there? A part of him didn't, but he would tell himself, Marcus, what would a champion do? It makes me emotional now, because that is the voice that I had in my head when I went manager. What would Jane Leach do? What would Juliana Bevan do? Natalie Healy do? You've got to have that mindset. So all of these people, you know, Marcus, if he decided to just curl back up in the duvet because he didn't fancy going out in the rain, he never would have achieved what he's achieved now. You know, Tiger Woods was chipping golf balls into a washing machine at the age of 6. He knew he wanted to be a champion, a world champion. Lewis Hamilton, from a little boy of go-karting, knew he wanted to be a world champion. So there was no disputing it. Every single day, they feed their minds with positivity. Top right is Karina Holikim. Now, if any of you went to Stockholm, and she did also come to a success day, she is, I think she's from Norway, might have this wrong. I think she's a Scandinavian base jumper. Oh my goodness, her story, the whole auditorium could have had a pin drop. And she was the lady that her parachute didn't open and she plummeted to the ground. I mean, her whole body was in pieces, you know, hundreds of fractures and open fractures. She got an infection, she had to have amputation. And she said she was told she'd never walk again, let alone base jump, you know, jump off cliffs on skis. But she was told she'd never walk again. And every day she would get in her wheelchair and she'd wheel herself to the mirror and she would look in the mirror and she'd say, you are strong and you will walk again. And every single day she would wheel herself to that, you know, in her wheelchair to the mirror and look at herself and say that every single day. That's positive mindset for you. She didn't just think, oh, well, that's it. I've been told I'll never walk again. It's what she told herself. It's so, so important. So, you know, if you just want a bit of a lift and you just want a bit of positivity, search these people up, watch their videos. Her video, honestly, you will want to take on the world. It is just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So, you know, listen to any one of these kind of people, that whoever you like listening to, just give them a little search up and watch. So as I say, every single day she told herself that she was going to walk. So what are you telling yourself every single day through the day when somebody says no, and they will, and they say no, and they say no, or they ignore you, and you just think, oh, you know, I always remember hearing Jane, and she said she was doing a phone session one night and she just phone call after phone call, and it was no, no, no. Oh, someone's asking, who was it? Karina Holikim. If you just put in base jump or ski jumping, I'm sure we can get it typed in somewhere for you. But yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. So Jane was saying that, I've lost my train of thought now. I shouldn't look to the chat box, should I? Where was I? Yeah, what do you tell yourself every day? You know, so she was doing this phone session and she'd had loads of no's and people laughed at her and people told her network marketing didn't work. And she said, I could have just shut the door of my office and gone downstairs and thought, you know what, you're right. I've had enough today. But she said, no, I'm not going to end on a negative. So she did one more phone call. And that one more phone call was a lady saying, yes, I'm so glad I spoke to you today. So you, again, positive, positive, positive all the time. Don't let that voice on this shoulder be the loudest voice of the day. All right, turn it into a positive, or get it in that brown paper bag and stamp on it. It's a conscious decision every single day to stay positive. It really, really is. I have to work on it every single day still. I absolutely do, because anything can floor you. You know, it really, really can. But oh my goodness, when you have that positive attitude, the reward that you get from that is so great. Trust me, it's so, so worth it. Even the simple act of smiling. If we can have the next slide, Sam, please. The simple act of going about your day with a smile, you know, that phrase, smile and the whole world smiles with you. It does. It really, really does. You know, obviously when, you know, and I can only think about the school run, you know, a few weeks ago, the amount of people that you just see, they're just walking along with their head in their phone, you know, head down, looking at their phones. Look up, look around you, smile at people. Our job is, we are professional network marketers. We are paid to make friends with people. If you're walking about with a sad face or your head in your phone, no one's gonna smile back at you because they can't see you. So that, you know, I love that picture. I think it's just lovely. Smile and the whole world smiles with you. It is absolutely key. So yeah, work on it constantly. The simple act of smiling, guess what? They'll smile back at you. And what will happen to your mood? It will be so lifted. When someone smiles at you, it's lovely. It's a lovely, lovely thing. So in summary, be aware of your self-talk. That's absolutely key. What voice is loudest in your head? Has that person just saying no to you, or they were going to join and then right at the last minute they decided it wasn't for them, or someone told them not to? Do you let it floor you for the whole day, or do you just, that's okay, I know that the next person is going to want to hear from me? So again, it's flipping it to a positive thought, because guess what, if you're not getting lots of no's, you're not going to get the yeses. So actually, one of Chris Goldsworth's training was, every time she gets a no, she does a little happy, right, yep, just going to cross you off the list, on to the next one. What list? You don't need to know what list it is, on to the next one. It's a good thing because you need the no's, so don't take it as negative. As I say, do you moan when it's raining? No, we need it. We need the water for the garden. Or, you know, oh no, I've got to homeschool the kids. All right, we've kind of got through that now. I'm in the school holidays. But did you think, actually, I get to spend more time with my children? It's a positive most of the time. Find inspirational people that you want to listen to, people that you can relate to, people that you like listening to. Motivational videos, there are loads. Just Google search motivational speakers, motivational videos. There's millions. There's absolutely loads. Smile, give off that positive energy, and trust me, people and opportunity will come into your space. You will attract it. It's the law of attraction. So if we can just have the next slide, because I think that's just to say about Q&As really. Yeah, any questions? So I think there's not too much. I'm going to have, thank you, Christine. I'm going to have a look at the little chat box. So let me just have a little look and see if there's any questions. What happened in June, which meant that you sponsored 9 people in that month? Right, yes. So I'll tell you what happened. It was just mindset. It was just mindset. I just wanted to share the opportunity with literally everybody. And every single day, I didn't go to bed until I'd done my 5 new invitations. It was like, and you probably heard it on many trainings, like cleaning my teeth. You know, you wouldn't exit the front door without cleaning your teeth. And I don't go to bed until I've done my new invites. So that was absolutely, it was laser-like focus from February to July. And I went managing on the 21st of July. It wasn't like I scraped it in on the 30th or 31st or whatever it was. I knew I'd done it because I just laser focused. I offered the opportunity to everybody. I offered it to my customers. I let them know that there was an incredible opportunity behind the amazing products they were using. So I did have a few people that joined for wholesale discount. That is fine. That is fine. And many of those have gone on to recommend it to other people. So they're already doing the business without even wanting to do that initially. That's how I did it. It was pure and simple. I know I'm going to do it. I know I'm going to do it. Let me just see if there's any other questions. Okay, so this lovely lady Sarah, she says, I started 2 months ago. I love the products. I'm passionate about them and I'm determined to be successful. Brilliant. That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Love of the products is the absolute number one. But you say people seem to be very wary and skeptical and do not want to actually buy or be recruited. Okay. Any tips on what to say? Right. Our job, let me just cross out of that box, is, I think, again, it's a mindset thing, a mindset shift of, you're not trying to recruit people, it's an invitation. As I say, to build and manage a business, really, you need 5 key people that want to do what you do. Only 5. Now, I've got more than 5 people in my team, of course I have. And I did have more than 5 when I went manager. But you need 5 key people that want to do what you do and 20 regular gel drinkers, really. And you're going to go manager, okay? Roughly. So your job is not to try and recruit everybody that you speak to or try and get everyone that you speak to about the products to buy a product. Just think of it like an invitation. And one of the best examples I can give this is from Paul Brown. If you've heard of Paul Brown, he's a diamond manager like Jane in the UK. And he said, if somebody came to your door now and came in your house, they would say, you would say, would you like a tea or coffee? It would just roll off the tongue, wouldn't it? Would you like a tea or coffee? But why is it when we want to share the products with somebody or the opportunity with somebody, we turn into some kind of apologetic kind of, oh, I thought of you because, and I don't know if you want to, but, oh, and it almost becomes awkward. Whereas if you said, do you want to tea or coffee? It just rolls off the tongue. Or do you want to come to a party? Or it's an invitation. So if you always think of, you're just inviting, you're inviting somebody to have a look, you're inviting somebody to try a product. They will not all want it, but just hold on to that you're inviting. Your goal when you're inviting someone to have a look at something is for them to either say, yes, I'll take a look at some information, or yes, I'll have a conversation with you. Your job when you're sending that first message or making that first phone call is not to try and recruit them there and then. And I made that mistake in the early days so much, you know, and then I realized, I thought, actually, I'm trying to get in front of them, you know, be it on a video call, which we would do now, or a coffee. That's what your goal is. Just invite them. Think of it. I even put a little post-it on my desk in the early days to just make me remember, and I put tea or coffee ? The girls in my team will know I did that because I've encouraged them to do the same. Tea or coffee ? And then when you pick up the phone, it will just relax you into just inviting. Just inviting. They may or may not. So I don't know if that helps. I hope that it does. If you've got any more questions, please feel free to raise them. I've talked for longer than I thought I would. Yeah, as I said, this is being recorded, so it will go on to Forever Knowledge. So just, you know, feel free to ask anything. I'll just keep it on for a little while longer. I don't think there's any more conversation. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's inspired you. Just be positive and it will help you so much. It's absolute key to building this business. Okay, have a wonderful Tuesday.